Okay, sir. The program is live.
Hello, everyone. On behalf of Bannari Institute of Technology, Sathyamangalam, good evening for participants from India and happy morning for the guest speaker. I'm happy and honored to welcome our principal, Dr. C. Palnichami sir, Dean PDS, Dr. K. Sivakumar sir, Professor Academics and Research, Dr. S. Jagadiswaran sir, heads of all departments, beloved department colleagues, internal, external student community, and internal faculty members from all over India. Last but not least, our guest speaker, Mr. Siromani Robert, Assistant Vice President, Global Business Solutions, Baltimore, USA. Welcome to today's international webinar on Internet of Things, IoT and its applications. Thank you for taking time out and joined here today. Currently, more than 950 students and the participants enjoying our streams now. Remaining persons are in the YouTube live. We will be running a live question and answer session at the end of the webinar. You can shoot your questions in the comment box at the time. If you miss anything, don't worry. You can watch the on-demand recording in the YouTube channel communicated earlier. I would like to introduce today's presenter, Mr. Siromani Robert. He has completed his Master of Science degree during 1996 and accrued over 24 years of experience in software engineering in various domains. He has a wide range of expertise from having worked on real-time data acquisition in INSAT 2 series for ISRO Bangalore to early web development. Wireless data over UDP when HTTP over wireless was non-existent. Wireless network testing and GIS, Geographical Information System. Lately, from the last 10 years, he is working in financial industry as a senior architect. Having said that, IoT is his passion. In his spare time, he reads and tinkers with IoT, 3D printing, etc. His current hobby project is deploying IoT for his small hometown farm at Kovilpatti. Now, I welcome Dr. Bharati Madam, HOD, Department of Information Technology, for the special address. Madam.
Today our topic is internet applications. Is it clear?
Yeah, ma'am. You proceed.
Hello. Sir, is it able to clear my voice?
Yes, madam. You can continue. Continue, madam. Continue.
Sir, good afternoon, one and all present. Good evening to one and all present here. Today's international webinar topic is IoT and its applications.
Your audio is not void now. I cannot hear your voice.
Ma'am, your microphone probably muted.
Okay, no problem. Uh, shall we continue, Mohan?
I request Premlada ma'am, HOD CSE, for the special address.
Thank you, Mohanraj. Good evening, one and all present here. I would like to welcome the chief guest of the day, Siromani Roberts. And okay. Today's topic is IoT and its application. Sir, please, you can take over the session.
Thank you, Mrs.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so
Now
much.
I request Mrs. Siromani Roberts to take over the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Parivallal, and thank you, Dr. Bharati, and thank you, Mr. Mohanraj, and Mrs. Premalata. And this is my great opportunity, and it is like thank you so much for extending an opportunity to share this platform among the bright and intelligent student of your student community. And it's a great honor and opportunity and for me to share some of the knowledge what I accrued over the period of time. And I think like this is going to be not just an one-way traffic kind of I'm going to say, since this is a online platform, I'm going to go over the slides what I have, but at the same time I'm also going to have the live comments, and somebody is going to, I think like Mr. Mohanraj, if you can moderate this, that would be very helpful. If you can see that questions and then go over the questions and pick the questions and ask me whenever it is appropriate, that would be really helpful. And I also have the 10 minutes at the end of this session. We have that Q&A session. So whatever it works, it is fine for me. So, so let's begin with the IoT and its applications. So when Mr. Parivallal asked me to present the IoT and its applications, I was like, I have no idea who is clicking that. Is somebody else is driving this? Okay. Okay, let me continue. So I was thinking that somebody else is driving this. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to click the slides and keep the control of the slides. I think like I'm the only one who has the control, but I was not sure who somebody else has the control or not. Anyway, so what we are going to cover in this next 40 or 50 minutes is that uh, the architecture, the entire architecture, the overall architecture of the IoT platform, and some of the tools and infrastructure what we are currently is available for IoT platform, and some of the IoT protocols and the use cases. I'm not going to cover what is IoT. We are all engineers, so that I'm not going to cover that portion at all. So, and I'm going to emphasize more on the use cases. So that's the objective of this session. So it's morely I'm going to focus on the applications of IoT, and I'm not going to complicate the too complex IoT applications. I'm going to keep it very simple, day-to-day applications, which I use personally in my life, in my house, around my houses. Some of the pictures you can see, which I took like a couple of weeks ago around my house, and when I in a walking trial in near my office. Those are all the topics or use cases what we are going to discuss. So it's not going to Audience, please mute your microphone if you can. Thank you. So let's move forward. So the IoT architecture. So this is basically the IoT consists of 4 stages. So the entire IoT system has like this might fall, some of the groups can be combined, some cannot be, but in general, there are 4 different layers of IoT system. The end node, the edge node is called the devices. The devices could be your IoT things, like a small, tiny devices like your Raspberry Pi, your ESP32, or your sensors, the motion sensors, or any kind of data capturing utilities or data capturing devices, or it could be your cell phone, or that's your IoT device as well. So, or your in your fridge, that could be an IoT device as well. So these are all the edge units, which is your IoT devices. Those are, if you put it in the tray, that's on the bottommost layer. The next layer is your data aggregation and pre-processing layer. So what that means, like this, the data is produced from IoT devices is going to be aggregated or collected through this aggregation layer. So what it connects between these two are the protocols, which are like basically it's a wireless protocols. How? It could be a Bluetooth, it could be a HTTP, or it could be Zigbee, or any other protocol which basically it connects between these 2 layers. So, for example, like your iPhone connects over HTTP. Your maybe like your ESP32. This is your ESP32. This connects over. This has a HTTP as well as it has Bluetooth as well. So the next layer is when it goes to there, like the communication layer happens to be your HTTP server or your MQTT broker, or that combined together, that acts as your gateway. So for example, like if you have a device and if this device is connected to let's say like a small sensor, maybe a temperature sensor, and if it wants to send a temperature read from the sensor to somewhere, it just pings whatever the configuration you have defined here. It knows that it has to ping that server with the payload, right? So that is, it could be using your HTTP server, which request and response, or if it could be a MQTT message. So once the data crosses that, that layer, that next stage is you have to store that data. It could be that transformation could be happening in that layer, or it could be a raw data can be dumped into a data storage. So what kind of storage? That's pretty easy to say. Mostly they use NoSQLs and store time series data in ELK, or some kind of like analysis analytics engine, which also happen to be a data store. So you name it, like it's up to you, like what kind of a data store you want to use. And some of the examples are like AWS, MongoDB, and Postgres, or it could be like a S3 or Amazon, or Microsoft has their own SQL server, but any or document DB or any kind of like a data storage you can see. It depends on the throughput. Choosing the database is basically, it depends on how much volume of data you are receiving from your edge nodes. So that determines what kind of a data storage you are using. And on the next level is your analytical level. What that means is once the data is stored, you can do anything what you want to do. So that's the tools which you used on that layer is like API management tools. So what basically like API names to say some of the API management tools, or Apogee is one of your API management tool, or once you have the way to access your database or underlying data, you can use any kind of visualization tool to to present that data to your end clients. This is pretty much the process or the data flow from your edge node to all the way through your presentation layer. So I think like this is pretty comprehensive. So the next one, yeah, like we have already seen this before, the IoT protocol. The most famous protocol is the MQTT, because like it's a message-based, lightweight protocol. So it's if you use a Wi-Fi, it is pretty heavy. It has yes, it comes with a lot of extra added advantage, but come on, what we are talking about here is small devices. So small devices, what you can send from this, you are not going to send a 2 gigabyte of payload from this, or you might have, I might have some sort of like a motion sensor here. I don't know whether I can find, yes. So this is a motion sensor, what it is. So this can send like a emotion, which is like whether it detected emotion or not. So this kind of, it may be like a few bytes. So MQTT is good enough for that. Zigbee is another protocol, which is like a kind of like a mesh network kind of protocol. And the same way NFC, I think like I have somewhere NFC, it must be somewhere in my boxes. So NFC is another near field communication protocol, which is pretty much like most cases where I use NFC is on payment system. On my watch, I can use my watch to pay my make a payment in stores anywhere, like you buy something and you pay with your watch. That's the NFC. And Wi-Fi, you know, everyone knows about Wi-Fi. Bluetooth, it's the same way. So I think like these are all the protocols. Depending on the device configuration or depending on the device, you choose the protocol, what is needed for your application. And here are some sample IoT development boards. The first on your left is the Raspberry Pi. I think this is 4 or 3, I don't know. One I have, this is my Raspberry Pi version 1. This is, yeah, this is 3 actually. I have a couple of them floating around in my house, like one as in a media center, and I keep buying these things. So, and the second one, what you see is this, like this is your ESP32 chip. You must have seen this too. And the last one, what you have is like that's the Nano from NVIDIA Jetson Nano. So that has a more powerful, that's a little expensive. This is like the Raspberry Pi is $40, and this could be the cheapest one, $10. And your Nano is maybe like it's $100+. So I don't have one. I bought one for my friend, but that's what it is. Like probably Rajesh Sundar, he is my classmate. I sent him the link. He may be watching this as well. So he has this Jetson Nano. How we are doing in time? 52. The use cases or applications. So in this next few minutes, like pretty much like we are going to cover this this use cases or applications. What are they? Like they are like I'm going to start with my pet peeve, which is the smart home build or smart building applications, and then we can little bit go one step beyond, then we can say that like what are all the things which we need for smart cities to make our cities smart, and why do we need that? The next level, we can say that like a remote data collections. So basically, this IoT is great a tool for remote data collection. Basically, back in those days, like 20, 30 years ago, this was not existent. It was one, it was expensive. Two, the data transfer over the air was so expensive. And so who were using back in those days? These industrial people in like a big industries where the heavy machineries or those kind of like applications were using them, but they were not calling them IoTs. They were like just like a sensors all over the place. So the IoT is the recent name coined by somebody, but it's basically it's an old wine in a new bottle. That's all it is. So what next? That smart mobility. That's my pet peeve actually. So smart mobility is making your mobility smart. That, having said that, like what is there to make it smart, right? You name it, like there is something, there is a room for improvement. So that ranges from like if you ask anyone today about smart mobility, they will immediately say, hey, there is a self-driving car coming up. Yeah, there is a self-driving car there, which is sitting right next to the behind this wall. There is one sitting there. So what else? There could be the mobility around the transportation, logistics, we are using the infrastructure which is 100 years old. We have a lot of other bits and pieces of technologies. Those infrastructure can be more efficiently used. So are we using it? Not really. So there is a huge initiative going on to make this mobility as such smarter, efficient, and it's at the end of the day, it's one group of people say that, hey, we want to make an electric car, make the world greener. So the mobility it's a wide topic. We will touch some. And industrial IoT, yeah, I think personally, I think like industrial IoT is the one which is the oldest place where it was not even called as IoT, but it was used. So all the big we'll talk about that. And precision agriculture. Agriculture is one of my favorite topic to talk about. How we can use technology and IoT on agriculture. All right, so let's start with the smart homes and buildings. So why do we need to make this home smart? What is that? That's the basic question everyone will be asking. Yes, it's all it depends. The answer what you are going to get is depends on the person who you are asking this question to. So each answer may be exactly right. There is no one right answer or one wrong answer for that. Like the answer it could be right for their use cases. So let's start with some of them. So I think that efficiency is what like drives this the whole IoT phenomena for smart homes. So in my home, I'm pretty much I'm not an electronics engineer, or I never studied electronics, but it's all like I use this because like I'm interested in this. I'm passionate about this technology. So what is the efficiency? How efficiency and what are all the like applications which drives efficiency for smart home. So, for example, like if this the same sensor I have in my daughter's room, because why? This one doesn't have the battery. I had this on my pathway, but battery died. I had to order that, but I'm lazy. I didn't buy the battery yet. So that is the one which is in my daughter's room. It is working. So what she does is like she wakes up and turns the light on, and she'll keep it on and go. The light will be on for the rest of the day. So that is the waste of electricity. So that can be improved if you put a simple, this may be a $10 motion sensor on it, and then get that data. Whenever the motion it detects the motion, it triggers an event, and I capture that event through IFTT, and then send that message to the switch, whatever the bulb switch has. That switch will on and off signal. So automatically, if there is no motion detected, the bulb will turn off. But the question is, then you can also say that like, hey, what about if somebody is like somebody's walking in the daylight at 12 o'clock in the noon, and do you want to turn it on? No. But what I do is like that is an if condition. If the motion is detected after 6 p.m., then do this. But the even one level further, if you can go, what can you do is like, hey, what time the sun sets in this location? Go and fetch a weather.com's API and see that, oh, today it is summertime. So it's bright up until 9 p.m. here in this geographic location. So if it is summertime, turn it on if it is dark outside. So these are all the things like you can program, you can code on it, or it is a very simple thing to do, but it will drive efficiency, right? You may say that how much it is going to cost. Like if a light bulb runs for like 3 hours, it's 2 cents. Think about this in the scale. How many millions of houses in this area? If all of them do, how much we are going to save? That's the efficiency, what we are going to go. And in the house, the highest consumer of electricity is my air conditioner and my water heater. Yeah, I didn't mention the water heater, but yes. So air conditioner, what it does is like if I don't have the Nest thermostat, no, but I have not done that yet. But yes, if you can do that, like if you buy, Google sells the Nest thermostat for $250. So if that is available, if I install that, what it will do is it will learn. It has a built-in artificial intelligence built on top of it. So what it does is it will learn the pattern of people moving around based on the motion sensor, sound detector, whatnot. I have, God knows what are the sensors they have. Based on that, they capture that data and they come up with a pattern, and then they increase and decrease the temperatures accordingly. So you can make, you can feel comfortable. Once you install that, you can forget about that. Yes, why I did not use is my, when 10 years ago, when I bought this air conditioner upstairs, I had two unit, like one bay for this unit, and upstairs I had two levels, like a main level and the second level. So those two level is one air conditioner. That one doesn't come with that doesn't come with a general purpose thermostat. So that has a proprietary system. So that's why I got stuck. So the third one is smart lightings. We already talked about the smart lightings. So smart lightings, basically you can program like if something happens, if if motion detector turn the lights on. I have one more sensor in my front door. Excuse me. I have one more sensor in my front door, which has a open. It detects whether the door is open or closed. If it is open, if it opens in after 6 or after the when it becomes dark, it turns on the two lights in my main level. So those are all the kinds of like automation you can do. It's pretty cool to play around with, but at the same time, it is also efficient. It saves money. It may be small, but it's some money. It saves it you can it accrues over the time of over the period of time. And what else is efficiency? It's the proactive and predictive maintenance. So that's another level of efficiency what we can think of. So what are the example for that? So think about this. Oops, it's clicked again. So think about this. If my air conditioner has, if it has a regular maintenance schedule, like today I have to call my maintenance guy, and every 6 months I have to be like, I usually do before the summer and before the winter. So that's time like when we switch mode from heater to AC. So winter time we heat, summertime cool down. So this time the maintenance guy comes, it's a pain. And second thing is, if there is abnormal situation happens, it happened once, but the maintenance guy caught it. If there is that can be avoided if there is an intelligence built on the air conditioner unit itself. If, for example, if there was a relay which was bad, when before the relay went bad, if I get a notification somehow, if they can detect if the relay is going bad, like there may be some kind of like a trip or some kind of like a fluctuation or something, maybe some kind of like a notification may be there, that if that notification is captured and then sends, if it automatically sends a technician, then that would be that can avoid a big maintenance cost. What's the next? The one level further, if we go, we can also say that like if the air conditioner, I'm just picking up the name, like the air conditioner is like outdoor unit is right sitting behind in front of me. You guys cannot see because like it's the camera is facing this side. So I have a window right behind the camera. So what happens is like if the air conditioner unit has some sort of like a connectivity to the marketplace, where it says, hey, it self-diagnoses what is going on, and it knows that like my relay is going to break in maybe like a week or two, so it needs to be fixed. So it sends a work request, or it floats a requirement into a marketplace. Hey, is there any technician for a carrier unit to replace the relay? How much it is going to cost, and how much the cost of the labor is going to be. So if there is a system which answers or looks for this kind of like a request and people start bidding, it will go and get the least the bidder. But based on the criteria what I had said, it doesn't exist. None of them exist today. It is just like I'm saying this, like this is possible today. Today it is possible. In future it may be reality in near future. But what I'm saying is like if that happens, it's a great thing. We do not need to worry about this. We can avoid unexpected the cost, repair cost, and we can it's painful to deal with this labor cost here. So, and labor cost is too expensive and unreliable too. Sometimes I hate to deal with these people. So that will save a lot of headache. what next? So yeah, the second thing is security and security and convenience. The connected cameras, smart locks, sensors, and motion sensors. This all we had seen. I have like pretty much like cameras all over the place. One in the backyard, one in the front, one in my garage. So what basically it does is I can tell you my real life experience. Maybe like a year or two ago. Yeah. 2 years ago, 2018, I parked my car in front of my house, and I left the double parking on, and I left for work. It was the lights were on all day, and then at the end of the day, it started to honk, and then battery died away. So the camera caught up the sound, unusual sound, and then what it did was it sent me an alert. I was staying in my friend's house that day. My wife was not here. Nobody was here. So what I did was I called my friend. I checked whether I checked the entire history, what happened. I saw the light was flashing. Something is not right. I thought like somebody touched the car or somebody did something. So the alarm lights was flashing. So I called my friend, and then he doesn't have any keys or anything. I opened my door from there from my cell phone, and he came inside, walked around the house, and then like he said like, hey, nobody had come in, no burglary or nothing. It's just something to related to your car, and your car looks good. And I opened the car from there, and he entered inside the car and then checked and left. So it's basically it is peace of mind for you. If had my door lock was the old-fashioned door lock, then I would have not able to do that. I would have called somebody. I could have called. I must have called police or something. Catastrophic. That was luckily that was nothing. Nothing happened, but it could be worst, right? So those are security issues which combined together. All these things will help to improve your security of your house, your family, and everything. So let's move on to the smart cities. I think like how we are doing it. I think like we spend too much time on this, I guess. Smart cities, the functions of smart cities are connected devices and sensors. Basically, how can you make the city smart? Connect devices and sensors and collect data and evaluate the data, build sensors on top, build solutions on top of those data, and then that's the end goal is citizens' benefits. And the current state problem, yeah. So any city, what you can see, the energy efficiency is the first and foremost. You can name n number of applications for energy efficiency, like street lights could be one of the example. Like how many street lights in are on all night when there is literally no one on the street. So that if we had motion sensors connected everywhere on every street or every pole, along with their the bulbs, or somehow if there is a motion or if there is somebody is traveling in that using the streets, if the lights comes up, that's the efficiency, right? Like we are increasing the efficiency and saving money. And second thing, this is my favorite one, trash problem. Trash is everywhere, right? So even here, trash is a problem. So how do we tackle the trash? We have a system every week. There are 2 trips they make. The county comes, like county is here. It is a district. We call it county. So the county people come here twice a week. One Tuesdays they come the regular trash, and Thursdays it is recyclable trash. So the even though if there may be one house in the one street after like 4 miles, or 10 miles, or in rural area, it is like even 15 miles road pass, like there may be one house, the trash man goes all the way there. If the trash can has a sensor which tells the county or the trash pickup, hey, that trash is empty, don't go there. That's tons of time, money saved. And that is a traffic also will be, there are so many benefits to it. So the county saves cost. So county saves money. So there is a reduction in their cost. And then at the end of the day, citizens benefit from taxes. So we don't have to pay this much money for tax collection, a trash collection, right? So that's the direct, simple use case or simple application for one of the problems, one or two problems basically here. That may be humongous, like a numerous amount of use cases like that. And the energy, the next is energy. So what happens is like I don't know whether you can see that one is a thermostat. So this thermostat is connected to our the electricity provider. Here it is called BG&E, so Baltimore Gas and Electric. So what they do is, like in the peak hours, peak time, this sends a signal, or they send a signal in turn, hey, this machine off because there is a load, like everybody is using a heater, or wintertime it is heater, summertime AC, and business are using, so electricity demand is high. So everybody starts using electricity. So there could be like the grid may not be capable to sustain that load. So what they do is they send signal to this and shut off our electricity. But what we in return, what they do is like they incentivize in the customer. Hey, if you allow us to shut down your AC during peak hours, then we will give you incentive, maybe like a $10 off or $20 off. And so I signed up here in this because basically not because of money. I don't need AC. This is a ground level so I don't need AC in this unit at all. So most of the time it is off. So I say like, okay, I could use it, but I don't do that for the upper level. So that's one use case actually. What next? Yeah, so this is the grid system balance. So what happens is like, what if you have an electric car or multiple electric cars sitting in your house, which has a huge battery in it? So you can use the energy distribution company can use this as a battery bank. When the energy is produced higher, production is higher, they can store that in these batteries. And then if the car is connected to the grid, then when the demand is higher and the production is consumption is higher than the supply, then they can pull that from the car. So that's the great advantage. And this was not possible before. Now it is, everyone can do that. I think California does that now. Yeah, so the next is a remote data collection. This is 2 weeks ago, I went for a walk in this park. I usually go to the left side, and on that day, I went on the right side of the park. Usually my daughter goes to this area, but like the moment I saw this, I said like, what is that? And it's based, if you see this, this is USGS, United States Geological Survey. They looks like they have like every place they have this kind of like borewell and the tons of sensors in this box. And then like this is powered by solar. and this has a radio on top of it. So this collects the data and sends it to the centralized system. And what they do is like find out the groundwater level, and if it is raising or lowering, what if there is a drought or what is happening. So they can do n number of analysis on that. Like they can say like water contamination there, like what is there anything else. So those kind of this is pretty much, it is an IoT device now. So back in those days, I think like people must have to come here, put a bucket there, pull some water, collect the sample and do this and come back. Now it sends data every few seconds, or I don't know when it sends, but it keeps sending the data to them. This is the similar one, river water observation well. This place, like I noticed this like 2 years ago or 3 years ago when I was walking towards this place, like the people were working on this unit. I don't know whether you guys can see my mouse moving. There is the pipe you can see underneath here, like going out towards the wall. So this is basically water quality testing. They were working on it, so I went there and I asked them, like, hey, what you guys are doing? So they said that like they are testing the water quality here, like what kind of impurity is coming up, how much contamination it is, what is the oxygen level, so that like what is the marine life it is going to be affected or not. So all these things, once they collect the data in real time, they can take actions right away. So this helps, not like if the contamination happens and then like you get to know like 1 month or 2 months later, damage is already done. So you can reduce the impact drastically. So this is a great tool, and IoT helps that. And this is for another location. I don't know where I grabbed this picture from the internet, and it's somewhere. It's in our county as well. It's in Baltimore County. Hopefully, it is in the river. There is a gunpowder falls here, so it may be near from there. It looks like that. And this is a Mr. Trash Wheel of Baltimore. I'm showing you guys everything from around the Baltimore, what I see, that it's our real applications which is happening. Somebody in Baltimore, some college guy or somebody designed this entire system. What it does is, this is pretty much, it is right after this place. If you see here, this is what that thing is. So what it does is, they have this like barrier, kind of like it's a floating one, like a floating plastic. It captures all the plastic which comes. This is a river on the comes and joins into the bay. This portion is called bay. So all the impurities or floating debris which comes through the river gets captured here, and then it accumulates in that. There is a big trash can behind this. So, and there is a solar panel. It works with the solar panel, no energy needed. And it also sends a signal to the city county that like, hey, trash can is filled, come and pick it up. So it is a great example for IoT. I love this device. Okay, the next is smart mobility. I got 8 minutes and I got 6 slides to cover. Is that accurate, Mohanraj?
Sir, you can proceed, sir. No problem.
Okay. So smart mobility, it's all over the place. And this is pretty much like it is near and dear to me. And it's basically, if you think about the mobility, what is your mobility? Your bicycle, your motorbike, your car, your bus. These are all or your truck which you drive for something, whatever. So point A to point B, the mobility. What if like we have so much of what do you say, like inefficiency in this mobility, and for the entire system has been designed almost 100 years ago, close to 100 if not 100, but it is still the roads are designed for horse buggies. Today we paved that, like the unpaved horse buggy road into the paved road, and now we are driving our cars. But what if that car becomes intelligent? That's really an awesome thing. So what happens is like how much of to make that happen, what do you need? You need basically your eyes, like cameras, radars, everything for your car. And you need communication. And on top of it, you need to process that data or whatever the captured data from your car. You probably processing on board, or you may be sending to the cloud and then processing there and getting the result back. And those are all the things need to happen. What is that? It's all sensors. And on top of this, there is a OTA, and I will go there next actually. So today's Tesla has it's a boatload of sensors in it. Like I'm saying Tesla because like they are the first people. I don't think like anyone else can beat Tesla in terms of technology today. So it's one hell of a lot technology there. So the one which I have, it has 8 cameras, it has a radar, and it does do self-driving, even though it is not a full self-driving, as Elon Musk says that like the full self-driving is coming, but it has a self-driving capability. So when I bought this 2 years ago, that was one of the few cars which was initially sold in this state, actually in our state. First, they initially sold in California, then they started to move towards east. So what happened was the number of functionalities which was in that car was not what I have today, but I did not do anything. In 2 years, I never took the car to the dealership, but I get updates over the air all the time. It's unbelievable to have that kind of like a technology in your like a fingertip. You can use your phone to control your car, to turn off the car, and on top of it, it learns as it goes. Before, when I bought this, when I back the car from outside, like I will be standing outside in my driveway, and I'll say reverse, it will not come back back from the garage. I had to physically do again and again and again, and over the period of time it learned, because the garage is very narrow. If there is a 1 feet or 2 feet on the left side and 1 on the right side, so the AI learns that like, hey, this is okay to go. These are all the objects which is okay to pass through, even though it is close enough. So it learns. Like I'm the proof of that actually. Like it's the this kind of thing is Internet of Things. Why I'm saying it is always connected. It is always connected. The new feature is needs to be added. They can push updates right away once a new software is like it's literally like this. You code a new piece of software, push it into the GitHub, and then make a build and push download into your or push it into to the cars available. So it's that same thing is happening. It is mind-boggling to see this happening, but I enjoy it, and I brag about it that too. So I love technology, so that is nothing wrong about it, I guess. What else this can do? The smart mobility. This is a great example, actually. So what happens is like insurance cost, right? Insurance cost goes higher. Insurance cost is fixed actually for certain type of vehicle, but why we buy? To mitigate the risk. The risk is higher if you drive your car more. Even though your cost of the car is small, it's not just you're covering the cost of the car, it is the liability. If you hit a child and that parents sue you for $10 million, that's the liability. So insurance cost is always based on certain factors. If I'm not driving, all that risk is not there. I'm still paying for that. Even though the risk is not there, I'm paying for the insurance. So what they did was like what Elon said, if you own a Tesla, we will give based on your driving habit, and one is driving habit. If you are an aggressive driver, they collect data and they analyze the driving pattern. And number two, the usage. Based on that, they can calculate the insurance cost. That's a big cost savings. So that's great, but it is not yet available. Maybe like I'm hoping it comes in the next 6 months or a year, because like that is something which I'm waiting for. My car is sitting in the garage for like in 6 months, never drove it, but still I'm paying the insurance premium. Why? That's a risk. What risk? Nothing. So even though there may be some risk, but like nothing. The insurance costs should be 0 or something close to that. What else? Yeah, so this is pretty much like, the application you have, the map application, you have the real-time data, which is traffic data, which comes in. You are driving towards some destination, point A to point B. On the way, like you found some traffic, your car says that like, okay, you get that in your phone, but what if the car has the same capacity or same feature? That's every car has that. So that's kind of like a real-time traffic data pushed to you, and make a decision based on the data. Your traffic route will be altered, and you gain time. And it's all improves the customer experience, right? So customer experience is what like it gains. It's a peace of mind. I don't want to sit in the traffic when on the way to my work. Like if there is an accident, 20 minutes, I don't want to sit there. So I can take a detour, and if that saves me like 10 minutes, well and good. It happened so many times to me. Yeah, so, and also, what is that? The on-demand feature. So what the on-demand feature means is like the mobility wise, what they are saying is, if you want your car to have a self-driving feature and you do not want to pay upfront, like for me, like I think like for self-driving, I paid $8,000. It's a software, it's a feature. That's all it is. Like it's just like an app. Okay, so but full self-driving is not available, but still I paid it. When it is going to be available, they will push that software to my car, and I will have that. These are all possible because the system is designed for that. The OTA, what we saw in the previous slide, over-the-air update, that's how they do that. They update the software and make this self-driving feasible. So this was not at all possible if the car doesn't have that much self-driving or that much sensors or IoT capabilities. You can call it IoTs because It's basically, it is the sensors and cameras and whatnot. Okay, so the next is fleet, how we are doing. We are past 3 minutes now. I'm going to just like a skim through this. Smart mobility, fleet, for fleet telematics. So if you are an owner of a large fleet system, for example, UPS is the biggest transportation company in the United States, just like FedEx is the biggest airline company. Their primary business is not like transportation, but they own more number of trucks and more number of planes than anybody else. So if they want to, if they save a small amount of money in every single truck, it's a volume, it's a scale. So they save boatload of money. And what they do, they like for UPS, for using the telematics on their delivery pickups, they use geofencing. Are they strictly following? Every driver in the morning gets a route map, and he has to follow exactly the same route map. If he doesn't, then there will be an alert generated. So you cannot, like the driver cannot go from this location to this location. There is going to be alert generated right away. I worked in UPS from maybe like 2004 to 2009, on and off. I was a consultant there. So probably 2 or 3 times, like I had to, I worked there. So I was working in this kind of technology back then. Speed and driving pattern monitoring. So you can pretty much, like aggressive drivers, you have to, if the driver is too aggressive, then there is some risk to the company. So that can be monitored, reduced by having, you can monitor that like with the telematics, and then that can be pushed to the central location instantaneously, and that can be mitigated. And next is the instant smog test. If your vehicle is constantly checking for the smoke, checking the smoke and seeing that like what is going on in their engine, if there is anything, like if the carbon dioxide level is way too high, then they can, or sulfur is too high, they can proactively fix their engine, do whatever they want to do before it breaks. So otherwise, every 2 years, we have to, if you are running a gasoline engine, then that is equivalent to your petrol engine in India. So if you are running a petrol engine, you have to go every 2 years for a smog test. Here, it is an instantaneous test. And that means your driver productivity increases by keeping all these apparatus, all these fences around. You obviously increase the driver productivity. That's the cost savings, like the profit for the company. The next is this is interesting actually. So industrial IoT. And predictive maintenance is one of the, it's again and again, it keeps coming, predictive maintenance. So for the simple example is like escalators and elevators. So what they do is like they keep sensors inside the escalators, like or elevators. Like they constantly collect data and keeps pushing data into the central cloud servers. Nowadays, like recently, one of my friend works for GE, and they have humongous number of GE produces like the engines for airplanes. So airplane engines and simple use cases, escalators and elevators, like it's you pick, and there could be n number of use cases like that. What they do, collect the data, send it, and they exactly know that if this signal happens, this is going to fail. So before it fails, you can fix it. In airplane kind of use cases, it can save lives. And then we can, so the machine to machine economy. Yeah, so what they are doing is like if for let's talk about this. Like again, going back to it is to the mobility, but like it is it's a machine to the machine is the another aspect of the same coin. For example, if I have a car which can drive by itself, I go to my office and I park in the garage, and then like I do not pick up my car until evening. So what happens is during that time of the day when it is not used, I can rent the car. That car can drive automatically like an Uber service. Somebody requested an Uber from, so they can push the work request, the car will drive and pick them up, drop them up, and come back right away. This car can, like Elon says that it is capable. Today's Teslas are capable of that when full self-driving is available for his customers. I paid for it. I don't know when it is going to come. It's an uphill battle, but I want to have that technology when it's available, like so that I paid it right now. So that's one thing. When that happens, what happens is like the car has its own wallet. If the car has right now it doesn't, but if the car has its own wallet and it has its own identity, if the customer has to pass through a toll booth, then the car will pay for the toll booth first and then bill the customer, not me. In that one transaction, when the transaction is over, the car will take care of the paying the toll booth, and while returning back, let's say like the charge went up, so it has to recharge. It will find the closest charging station, and it will charge automatically and drive itself to the garage and make the interior comfortable temperature before I hop into the car in the evening. This all looks like a science fiction, but it is doable, and I believe it is not too far away. The machine economy number 2, maybe like it is like the 3D printer. Your lab may have like hundreds of 3D printers sitting there. If somebody wants to make money out of it, like you can, machine has a wallet in it. It's connected to the internet. Somebody sends that like, hey, this part I need to 3D print. They will post they will get the drawing and whatever the file format based on the 3D printer. They will upload that, and then they'll pay the money over the internet, or by using phone device, whatever the device they are using. Send it, and then like once it will start printing automatically. Once it starts, like a print job is done, somebody has to pick up what somebody has to, the owner will, in this case, for example, if it's me, then I'll take that part and ship it, put it on the mailbox. The mailman will come and pick it up. So it is like machine has more intelligence. Machine will have its own identity. How it is possible? IoT. Mohanraj, please let me know when you had to break. I have last 2 slides. Pretty much we are approaching the end. So the next one is precision agriculture. I like this one too. They say that by year 2050, we need double the amount of food what we need today, because the population is growing exponentially and the arable land is shrinking. When the population grows, they expand, they they can only build vertically so many floors, but like usually they expand. So all the arable lands are shrinking. So what happens is your food production comes down. What is the solution for that? So precision agriculture. What is that? Using sensors, again, using sensors and devices and connected to the internet and do your agriculture. And one of the ways what they are doing, you guys might have heard about this jargon a lot. This is basically like they are going vertical. So instead of like using soil, they go vertical using hydroponics. Hydroponics is basically use water. It's a soil-less agriculture, and all the fertilizers or all the nutrients will be in the water. They pump water, circulate the water all the way through from the top to bottom, and they grow plant, and then they that's how that agriculture works. But what happens is, since it is indoor, all 12 years you can harvest. So that's how you can do that. Everything is controlled by small, tiny sensors. I want to do that actually. So that's one thing. And the same thing applies for the aquaponics too. So hydroponics is artificial, the fertilizers, nutrients, and aquaponics is all natural. You feed the fish poop becomes nitrogen. You pass the water which has a fish poop, send it through the bacterial process, convert the nitrate into nitrogen, or vice versa, whatever. I don't know the exact terms, chemical terms. And then that becomes food for the plants, and then push back the water again to the pond. So there is a less number, like very less amount of water. Even the 10% of water is good enough to grow your produce. And fish is a high in nutrient, like a high value calorie, like a high calorie or a high protein diet. So that's one way of doing it. There are a lot of, Amazon is doing this a lot. They invested in some sort of like a company up in Boston. And next is data exhaust. All this IoT and connected devices produce data. But who profits from this? This is not related to the IoT by itself, but this is my take on it. At the end of the day, what happens is all this data, what you are producing, is being used by big corporations. For example, Google, like a city wants to do something, city doesn't have money, corporate, they will say, like big companies, hey, why don't you invest something and take this data, all this data, what is being exhausted, or we call it exhaust because that's that comes from the tail, right? Like from all these devices, they collect this data and they manipulate it and then make a big profit. And at that time, the privacy, there is no tracking of this whose data it is and where it is staying and what they are doing. And your privacy and everything is at the corporate's mercy. So what is the alternate? So people are, I think like there is a two initiative going on in Amsterdam and Barcelona, where they say that publicly funded corporate, they are forming a publicly funded corporate as a data collecting, data collectors and custodians. So they will collect the data and guard the data. And data is like your utilities, right? Like it's like a water and electricity data. And somebody called data is a new oil as well. So these companies, at least in Europe, what they are doing is like they collect the data and they become the custodians. If my house generates boatload of data, I have an option to obfuscate all the personal information and still put the data. They do not know whose data it is, like what kind of data. They just know the output from that. And then everyone, like big companies or small companies, they can buy data from that company. In that way, the level playing field is set. Today, a small startup cannot acquire that much data. Google has plenty of data, all our data, which they acquired free. But a small startup cannot get hands on those data. So the alternate is this. So they are trying on this. Where it is going to go, nobody knows. How this corporate is going to give up that. Facebook collects data. So all these big companies, how they are not going to give up without a fight. So time will tell. All right, I think that's all I have. I will reserve. I already went like 29 minutes over, I believe.
1 hour 15 minutes, sir.
Okay, so next I can take a couple of questions. Any questions? You can read, Mohanraj, you can read the question.
Sir, I can project the comments in the screen also. You can use it.
Yeah, I think like it will be easier for me to, if you can read, if that is okay with you.
Participants, if you have any queries, you can drop in the YouTube comment box. It will be projected on the screen. Probably they will be typing, sir.
That's okay. I'll wait for some time.
Dear audience, already in 2015 onwards, Mr. Siromani Roberts gave many projects. Our ECE students, for our MCA students, he gave IoT related projects. Those days, we don't know the name IoT, but now only we understood, so that this is for your information.
Yeah, actually, like one of the project, one of your student, I still remember her name because like last 2019 November, she sent me an invitation for her wedding. And sir, no, can you come for my wedding? No, well, I wish I can come, but I can't. But good luck to you. And what the project, what she did exactly, 4 years or 5 years later, Amazon implemented that. So and she was very happy to say that, oh, this is the same thing what we worked on. It was good.
Sir, we are receiving comments, sir. You can see in the screen.
Yeah, so the one which is the, I see the comment like the question is from Maithili Karthikeyan. Can you please tell me the medical applications of IoT? Yes, I can, but I was thinking about it when I saw, but the time was given to me only like 50 minutes. Like there was no time for that. Like, yeah, one of the medical application is like, let me give you the simple medical application. This watch, right? Every Apple Watch comes with a boatload of information. So it always tracks your heartbeat. And if there is an abnormal rhythm in your heart, it will notify you. It saved life. So that's one simple thing. And I have like the other device. What I have is like the regular, what do you call, like a blood pressure monitor. Yeah, the blood pressure monitor. Nokia has that now. The one which I have is from Nokia. It connects to my phone, and every time I take my blood pressure, the data is collected, and you can configure like like all three of your family members. I have like one daughter, so like myself and my wife and my daughter. Whenever we don't do that much, but like if we do, it is recorded. So and also like the other IoT device use cases. This is interesting. What happens in the hospital when the baby is born? Some people, it may not be that much, but the thing is, like when sometimes it does happen, they snitch the baby and go. Like the baby abduction happens. So the moment the baby is born, what happens is they put a bracelet kind of thing in their like a I think like my daughter, they put that on her feet. What it does is every door has a sensor. The baby is not like if they anybody takes the baby out of the NICU, immediately the entire door for the outside door and entire unit will be shut down, and the siren will start ringing. I think they color code the code for something code blue, code 3 red or something. So that's the great use case. It's IoT. This is IoT. Next question. I couldn't understand. What is that thrust? What do you mean by thrust?
Thirst.
Thrust area in IoT. I couldn't get exactly. Can you rephrase your question?
Research area. He is meaning the research area.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I don't know. There's research in the sense like it depends like what you want to research, right? So the basic like underlying phenomena is collect data, and data is huge. You can do any kind of research, like you can do the research, and remember we saw that in the 4 layers, every layer has its own specific functions. So you can create a brand new sensor, you can do a research on a brand new sensor and come up with something, or you can come up with a great algorithm which is so fast enough to push the data from your like a producer to your storage. So it's all over the place. You can do whatever you want. Hope that helps. Wow, fashion industry. Yeah, that's okay. Let me tell you the fashion industry. Like, because like I met a guy, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. What he does was he like a simple phone. He has an app. He makes you to he has an instruction in the app how to place the camera and place your phone and stand in front of your camera and do the pose the way it does. Like it plays a video and you do the same thing what is shown in the video, and it will generate a file and send it to them. And then you can pick the exact size that takes the measurement of your body, and it gives the precise measurement, and it gives you the most option to choose the fashions in like whatever the fashion it fits you, or you based on your like and the availability with that consumer or the producer. That's one of the avenue. Somebody did that. He lives in Baltimore actually. I met him, young guy, very young guy back then. It was maybe like 4-5 years ago. Yeah, that may be one of the use case for the fashion industry. Don't forget that your phone is an IoT device as well. It has boatload of sensors. Yeah, that's COVID-19. It depends like how you are going to use it, right? So that is one app. Apple did that and Google did that too. It it kind of like tracks your location and says that hey, are you this, if you are in a crowd or if you are passing by and this person who is coming across, it can generate an alert in saying that like it could be like this person has moved this many cities in last few days. So based on that, like it can come up with a number or risk factor. He may be susceptible to COVID-19, so avoid from being like take a shelter right away. Yeah, there may be like too many people who may have COVID in this crowd. So that's one of the use cases. What will you think that future IoT device that will be more influencing in our daily life? Uh, yeah, I think like it depends on what you do. Right? I may be doing a lot different than what you are doing. So most common thing is like I think like self-driving is the most advanced one, I believe, for a near future. Because like when you go, then this is an experience, right? Like if you are driving in a highway 80 miles per hour and your hands are up, like you are not controlling the car, it is changing the lane automatically, it's stopping, moving, like that feeling is phenomenal. When I was first time, it was scary too. My daughter still doesn't feel comfortable. um, yeah, so that's one thing. That's every day that we have to use that. And if that happens, if that's self-driving, if today we have to sit in the car, that's a must, because like self-driving has a 5 levels, like a level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the complete self-driving without driver. So today what we have in is level 2. So when it reaches level 5, and if it is available in India, like maybe like my parents live here, my parents live in India, but like if they are here, like today, like every time they want to go to anywhere, I have to call someone to pick them up and drop them. So they are old. My dad is 80 years old and my mom is 75 years old, so that it's difficult for them. So that car can go pick up, drop them, come back. What else you want? That's the everyday life. Can you please explain how IoT applies in food industries? That is, we saw that precision agriculture, right? So that from that level to all the way to the the moment the food, you sow the tree, the seed, from the all the way to the table, it's been tracked. So the food industry is one of the major industry which is going to be impacted or going to get benefit from this IoT. And if you guys want to work on some of the project on agriculture, I'm open. I'm willing to take some few people from your college. Actually, like I'm creating a small farm with all these kind of like small things with the sensors. Like for example, like it's an indoor farm. Aquaponics is what I am trying to do, and I'm also planting Miyawaki forest. So it's all like organic farm I want to create, including the drone. Drone will fly over. Number one, it will watch the intruders. Number two, it will take a picture of your crops and it will find what pattern it is moving. Right? If there is a if there's for example if there is an insect coming up, like if it goes to the 5 farm down the line, if they have some infestations, like then that will the probability of that making it all the way through is higher. So how can I take the preventive measures? All those things is possible today. So it's that's the use case for the farmer, which I can think of, but there may be like hundreds of them. What would be essential requirement for non-technical student, example, a fashion student, to acquire knowledge on IoT applications? I don't know. You have to be smart enough to use the guy who knows the technology. You don't have to know the technology. You just have to be smart enough to use smart people. At least that's what I can think of. That's for Priya. The question is, will IoT need to be influenced in space tech? What is your opinion? Oh yeah, space tech is the one which created this industry. Space is everywhere. IoT is everywhere in space. Without it's a sensor, right? So will IoT need to be influenced in space tech? What is your opinion? Yes, it is already. Thank you. You're welcome. Any other questions? All right. If not, thank you so much for your opportunity, and it was pretty interesting to talk in front of so many. I think like this is the first time. How many people were streaming today?
Sir, around 300, sir.
Around 300. I think like this is the first time I ever spoke to in front of 300 people. So I think like I'm excited as well. So thank you for your time, and I'm really honored to be in front of you and sharing my thoughts with you guys.
Parivallal, sir, can you wind up the session? Ma'am, can you wind up the session, ma'am?
Let's please the vote of thanks, Mohanraj.
Okay, ma'am. Myself, Mohanraj, on behalf of CSE and IT departments, Bannari Amman Institute of Technology, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all the participants and faculty members all over India and abroad. I would like to extend a special thanks to Mr. Siromani Roberts, Global Business Solutions USA, for inspiring us. I would like to thank our distinguished speaker for excellent presentation and making this webinar interesting and meaningful. I also wish to express my gratitude to our beloved principal, Dr. C. Palanisamy sir, Dean PDS, Professor Academics, heads of various departments, and beloved HODs of CSE and IT, Dr. K. Premalada ma'am, Dr. A. Bharati ma'am, for providing encouragement and support for organizing this webinar. Last but not least, I thank Dr. Parivallal sir for giving me this opportunity. I heartily congratulate all the participants for active participation through your brainstorming queries. Thank you all for making this event successful with all your involvement and contribution. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to sign off now.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. It's very nice, sir.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Thank you, sir. Okay, sir.
If your students wants to contact me in the future, please share my phone number and email address if you like.
Sure, sir.
Parivallal has my contact information.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Please
Good night to you guys.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mohanraj. Thank you very much, Mohanraj. Sir Parivallal, sir, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Mohanraj. Always your support for organizing the webinar is really very great for us. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, Bharati, ma'am. Thank you.